G'day and welcome to another game with me, Belson. So, in this game, I'll be playing in a 64 player game. Theta, Kleeia is the name of the game. I am playing as Orange Triangle. My name I've gone with is Centrophos, which means sidekick or friend. In this game, I kinda want to ally with as many people as possible, while always leaving for myself a route for expansion. And to that end, I'll be focusing heavily on economy and science because I'll be keeping myself safe through allying all my neighbours. To that end, I've currently bought 2 science, one on this star here and one on this star here, and I'm planning on buying a science here when I get there in 6 hours, and with those 3 purchased science, I'll be finishing experimentation before the end of the second cycle. With that tech, I'll then be able to get a number of other technologies as they come about, and I'll move on to weapons next so I can start attacking others. That's my initial game plan. I've also expanded out to each of the 4 neighbouring directions. I'll be able to see which way to go once the game starts up. There are currently 10 positions left to fill, so it won't be very long till it starts. Anyway, I intend for this to be a daily diary type video, so I'll check back regularly and give you updates as the game goes along, but I won't be explaining all my moves in full detail, unlike in my 1v1 videos. So if you want to have a look at strategy in detail, what I do, how I plan, that sort of thing, go check out my 1v1 videos. But for now, let's get into this one. The game has now started, so I get to look at the entire map, and with the vision it now gives me, I can see my neighbours, so I know that the carrier heading up this way will be fine, so that is not accessible via either of these green players. So I've only sent one ship on the carrier up to that star, and then I'm bringing the carrier back down to pick up ships and move to whichever front I so choose. Looking at the stars over in this area, green gets to these 2 stars first, while I get to these 3 stars first. Seeing as this star here is not worth much, only 1 natural resources, I've decided I'll skip over that star and just go to these 2 stars to defend them. Hopefully I'll be able to strike up a peace deal with Candyman, so that I don't have to worry about controlling this area. But if it does become too much of an issue, I might just withdraw and make sure that they can't come into my area. Coming down south, we can see that Orange Square Anonymous, is able to get to these stars first, and so I'm not going to them just yet. But I can get to these 3 stars, and I will be going for those to protect them. And looking at Anonymous' stats, we see no victories, no rank, and only 1 renown. So I think they'll be easy targets, and as such, I've changed my research from experimentation to weapons, so that hopefully I can get some quick expansion through this area. Following that, we see that player back, green square here, also only has 1 victory, 48 rank, and 90 renown, so they've got some experience, but should still hopefully be a fairly easy player to take out. If we look over at green star here, I'm thinking that they will end up being my primary ally, seeing as we share a border within scanning distance of each other, but not within hyperspace range of each other. We don't need to worry about the other one attacking early on, and we can still share text between the 2 of us. As I mentioned before, I'm going to look for peace with Candyman here, and try to get them to expand up into the top corner if possible. Space and ring here I'm thinking might be a medium term ally, so once I get past my initial expansion, link up with them and go for an alliance to take us through to mid game that may or may not survive. On the southern border, I'll head through back, and then down here, it's really too early to tell who'll come out on top, but given the victories alone, I think Chocolate has the best chance of it, and so probably end up allying with them at some stage. And that is what the board looks like around me. I'll be giving daily updates that may or may not correspond with the cycles, but I'll keep you updated as to how this game goes, and we'll see how things progress. We're now at tick 26 into the 64 player game, a little over 1 day and about halfway through the second cycle. So looking at my neighbours, we've got Candyman up here on 8 stars, we've got Philbill to the left of me, and we've got Anonymous below me. And we can see that I'm managing to take over Anonymous nicely. I've taken these 2 stars from their territory, and it looks like I'll be able to take a number more stars, these 5 stars at least. I believe that Anonymous has gone AFK. They probably gave their initial orders and never came back after that. So we'll probably see them being kicked from the game at the end of this cycle or next cycle. I forget whether it's 2 or 3 cycles for them to be kicked at the start of the game. But we also see that below Anonymous, we've got Back here, and Back only purchased a single carrier at the start of the game and didn't do anything else. So they'll be an easy target if we can get to them. Hopefully I will be able to get to them before players like Ping or even Pong get there. But that is unlikely, and we'll see how that develops down there. Candyman up here, I offered them peace, and they have offered me tech coordination and trading. So that is looking good for me. I haven't negotiated a successful deal with them yet, but if I can do so, I believe that puts both of my northern neighbours as potential allies, and I've got free expansion to the south through a number of weak and new players. And if I can catch up with Chocolate and get to a place where I can ally with them, then that gives me a really strong front, and I'm happy with that position. Over the next day or two, I'm going to finish weapons in just over a cycle's time, or less if I get lucky with experimentation. With that upgrade in weapons, I'll be able to move in, pretty much take over all these stars, and move south without anyone stopping me. I haven't decided what I intend to do after that, but I'll probably head mainly this direction, taking out these players as I go. But that's still a few days away yet, and it's still early game, and many things can change and affect how the board looks before I get there. We are now nearing the end of the second cycle at tick number 38. I'm making excellent progress against Anonymous here, and the taking over of their stars has even propelled me to the top of the leaderboard. We can see here that I'm on 19 stars and place number 2 has 18. However, Anonymous is now showing some resistance. We see that they built 2 industry on Zoo here. That may seem like it's a setback, but it isn't really all that much of a problem. We see that I'll be having weapons number 2 in about 10 hours, and I've got 37 ships here that are going to come in and take on Zoo without many losses. So in effect, that's pretty much just 2 free industry for me. And the other thing about Anonymous building that industry there is it means that they won't go AFK, and it's a lot easier conquering an AFK player
than it is to conquer an AI, although AIs themselves are still pretty easy. So I see those two industry as a good thing for me. Coming up to see my northern neighbours, Phil, Bill and I haven't really communicated that much after our initial communication. There is a let's have peace, yeah, that'll be fine, but nothing more than that. Candyman, on the other hand, has been active trying to work out what we can do together, and they're currently researching banking. I'm currently researching weapons, and we should be able to trade those two techs in the next cycle. I think Candyman might actually become my main ally rather than Space and Ring or Phil Bill like I initially planned. If we come down to the south here, we can see that back here still hasn't done anything. They're still on 2 carriers, 4 stars, no extra infrastructure bought. Ping and Chocolo here both have weapons level 2. Given the science each one of them has, I'd say Chocolo has researched weapons too, while Ping got lucky on an experimentation boost. So that's my theory of how they got their weapons, especially since they can't trade with each other, they're too far away. Pong, on the other hand, still hasn't got an extra level of weapons, so they'll be crushed quite quickly between Ping and Chocolo. I don't like that that Ping has a great chance of taking over back here. That's because I want to expand down this way, so Ping might get in my way and make things difficult for me. To that end, I'm hoping that I can either get Ping to give me a passage through their territory, maybe jump like this to attack Pong there. Either that, or Ping is fighting other opponents and can't afford to resist against me. In order to get that latter option, I'm going to try to get Tinfoil, Rubik and others to move in and try to take on Ping so they're an easier opponent for me, but I don't know how that's going to go. I might be able to lure them in by offering a strong alliance them with me, and if they manage to take out Ping, then that will definitely be worth allying with them. We're now at tick number 48, 2 days into the game, but 2.5 cycles in. So cycles are every 20 ticks and not every 24 ticks like they are in the default 8-player games. But having a look at the situation, I'm making good progress against Orange here. Well, we're both Orange. I'm making good progress against Anonymous here. My fleet of 37 ships is about to come in, take out Zoo, and I've got plenty more ships on the way. I might soon be able to take out Sadira, although having a look at the situation, I may need to wait for this fleet to come in before I can take it. So it's still got a bit longer to wait. Looking at the leaderboard, I'm still not exactly in the lead, but tying in the lead. Both me and Texas on 20 stars each. Coming down here, we see Ping is taking on Back. Back has gone AFK, which means they'll now start building carriers and everything, which will hopefully make it a bit harder for Ping to take over them, but it'll still be a problem there that I'll need to deal with Ping at some point. With regards to research, I've finished weapons and traded weapons for banking with Candyman. Having a look at Candyman's borders, we can see that they can't actually attack anywhere except me, so I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but if it does, I'll put up a good fight and make it really difficult for them to make any progress against me, and I'll know not to trust them in future. I've had no further contact with Space and Ring or with Phil Bill. Currently they're just there. Space and Ring maybe will work with them later, but Phil Bill, they actually got weapons before me, probably due to the higher science count than me, but once again, they've got nowhere to expand, so I really hope they don't move in on me. I could really be a goner if Candyman and Phil Bill both attack me at the same time, both move up to hyperspace range and attack. However, Candyman didn't get weapons from Phil Bill, so I'm feeling confident that that won't happen. It will be no more than one-on-one. We're now at tick number 60. My war against Anonymous here is going well. I've captured this star here, Zoo, which has given me an extra 2 industry, and I'm slowly building up ships here. So I've got 3 industry on this front, which is equivalent to Anonymous's 3 industry on Sidera, which means I'll be able to take that star soon. I can't do it now, I'll have to wait until these 30 ships get down, and then I'll be able to take that star without much problem. Then I'll have 6 industry on that front, against the 5 industry on Anonymous's home star, and I'll be able to take over that star without an issue. That will then allow me to take the remaining stars in this territory, and then move on down to back. Now we can see that since back has gone AFK, they've done some expansion, they've built out, and it looks like they've been making it a little difficult for ping. They've been moving into this area, into ping's territory, I'd say, and that's making it harder for ping to move in and take over from back. If we have a look at my neighbours again, Phil Bill hasn't done anything much since I've last seen them. Candyman. Once we traded texts, I was afraid that Candyman might be attacking me, but at the cycle, they got an experimentation boost in hyperspace range, which means they're now able to move northwards, attack the swarm, and space and ring. So that bides well for me. I don't need to worry nearly as much about an attack from Candyman than I would have otherwise. They're currently researching manufacturing. I've told them I'm going for experimentation and will have it within the cycle. That's why I've built so much science. And we can trade those technologies and then move on to a new set of technologies, probably terraforming and weapons 3. One thing I do want to bring to your attention is I think currently our main threat is Math Guy over here. That's because if we have a look, we can see that they've got so many technologies at this point in the game. It's barely 3 cycles in, and they've upgraded pretty much all of their technologies to level 2. They've got so much economy, so much industry, so much science. In fact, we can see that they're leading the pack. So if we go to everything, total stars, total economy, we see Math Guy all the way in the lead up there, followed by Implicit, and I'm in 3rd place here. If we go to Industry, Math Guy is all the way in the lead, I'm in 2nd place here. And Science, Math Guy is in the lead there, and I'm tied 4th place after tied 2nd and 3rd. So I don't know how they got that far ahead. My guess is they got a injection of cash from possibly Enyo We See You, maybe some other player, and the Void seems to have a lot of technologies too, so I'm guessing they both got experimentation early and got lucky with which boosts they got and traded them amongst each other. We can also see that Bud Lightyear has a few techs, but not as much as those two, and Eoin 6T also has a few techs, but no, just a couple of techs. So it looks like that we have Math Guy and the Void as a strong alliance, and they will be a big threat as time goes on. Math Guy being the bigger threat of the two, considering how many of each infrastructure they have, while the Void should be relatively easy to take out because they've got very little of all the infrastructure. Looking at tick 84, we see that I'm not in the lead anymore, 21 stars, 2 behind the leader, which is Math Guy, which means I might not get as targeted as I might have otherwise, but it also means that Math Guy is creeping ever so slowly ahead, and that could be dangerous. We might need to start a coalition against him soon if we can potentially do that. Here we've got Phil Bill. Still haven't interacted with him beyond the initial contact, so that's unknown as to what his plan is to do, how he's going to play this out. But I'm ahead in technology, ahead in all the stats, so I shouldn't be too bad off if they decide to attack me. We can also see Candyman. We've done a fair bit of tech trading, got hyperspace range and manufacturing of him. I've sent him experimentation before the cycle. I'm currently researching terraforming and then jump onto experimentation 3, while Candyman will be researching weapons 3. So we've got a nice tech trading partnership going, and I think that will serve us well for the future. Especially since Basin Ring has quit. So they contacted me asking me what my relationship with Candyman was, and I said it was amiable. But then they never responded and quit, so I think they were counting on their game going depending on whether or not I was with them. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure why they quit, but they've done so, which means they'll be eaten fairly quickly by all the empires around them. We've got Benihana, who also quit, Count Dracula, and the Swarm, and also Candyman. They'll all be moving in on Space and Ring, taking over that territory. If we have a look at who I'm fighting, so we've got Anonymous here, still hasn't gone AFK. That's because the industry and economy bought here reset that AFK counter, gave me plenty more time to deal with him, and I ended up not going for Sadira here. That's because I worked out with my ships that were coming from the home star, I'd be able to take on and successfully capture this star. So I'm waiting to do that. I'll capture Anonymous's home star, and that'll mean I'll be able to capture Sadira faster than I would have been able to capture the home star had I gone for Sadira first. So that would be a net benefit for me. In addition, I'll also get the 50 credits from capturing those 5 economy, and it will also allow me to start expanding this way and get into the territory of back before they fully expand up this way. Coming down here, we see that Ping still hasn't made much progress into back, and Pong is still alive, but is looking like won't stay alive for that much longer. We've got Ruin F20 down here. They seem to be doing very poorly. I don't know if they've got any allies, but I doubt it, considering they've only got one tech completely researched. And we also see here that Chocolo won't last long. So on my southern border, Ping is likely to be the ally I go with, because they're the only empire that seems to be doing somewhat well on that border. So once I get through Anonymous and back, I'll try to ally with Ping, because fighting them will be too painful for both of us, especially since we'll have to head west to fight the Alliance over this way. Math Guy and the Void. I wonder how big a jump this is. Tech level for hyperspace range. That's a bit out of the way just yet. Only got level 2 and the other techs are a bit more important. I think I might have to go into Phil Bill's territory. I don't like that as an option, but that might be the best option of where to expand to if everywhere else is full. And then I can take over the northwest corner of the map, and that'll be much better overall, especially if I can get ping as an ally on my southern border. I wouldn't need to worry about that at all, and I can make a strong base in the northwest. We're just about 4 days in, and as you can see, I still haven't captured Anonymous's capital. Now, you may be wondering why, but the answer is quite simple. Weapons. They were upgrading weapons in that time, and I actually didn't see them do it because I wasn't paying attention. And so when my fleet came in to attack, it had a complete failure. Here we go. 187 ships in and still 29 left over. So I'm going to have to wait for weapons 3 before I can capture that star. But thankfully, Candyman is researching weapons 3 at the moment, so I should get it well before those ships make it. And that will allow me to capture the home star there. Meanwhile, I'm researching experimentation. I'll have that done in 12 hours, so halfway through the next cycle, so that's all good. I'll be able to trade it for weapons next cycle, and then I'll probably move on to terraforming or manufacturing, depending on what Candyman wants to do after they finish weapons. But that's something we have to work out still. Not much else is happening. We can see that Math Guy is really taking the lead. Now got a 4-star lead over me at 25 stars. And the infrastructure is still just increasing. So still something we need to worry about at some point. We're at tick number 120. We've just completed our 6th cycle and we're about to start our 7th cycle, so we've almost had a week of cycles. Not quite a real week because a cycle is 4 hours less than a day, but close enough all the same. But let's have a look at what's happened. So we can see that Math Guy is no longer in the lead and it's actually Ping. So Ping down here has been expanding really well. Must have taken over this player here, SCP, and they've also gone into Pong and Chocolo. So Chocolo is no longer down here. They got taken over by Briarios, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on here because it seems like Ping and Pong. I was a little curious as to their names when they started because they had adjacent player positions. If we have a look at them, one will be X and the other will be X plus 1 or so. But yeah, if we have a look, all 3 of these players have the same technology. Chocolo just quit in the last couple of ticks. So they've all got the same technology, and it looks like Ping is slowly taking over Pong. If we have a look at the graphs, then we can see that's the graphs between them. So Ping is the dark blue line, Pong is the light blue line, or the cyan. And we can see that Ping started to go up rapidly at about the same time Pong went down, but Ping's been going up a little faster, so I'm guessing there's been some other expansion. In other news, I've got weapons level 3 from Candyman. We've got pretty much the same tech. He got manufacturing on the cycle, probably from an X boost, I'm guessing. So I sent him scanning, which I got from an experimentation boost. I've asked for manufacturing, and we should be able to trade that and keep doing well together. We've had a good partnership so far. Candyman has all of the northeast to expand into, and I've got the center to expand into. That just leaves Phil Bill, who's had these 9 stars, not doing much, not being able to do much, behind in all the tech. We see earlier today that he messaged me asking if we could trade, can I buy tech? And I said, sure. but I haven't heard back from him yet, and I'm a little concerned because we've got 250 ships coming from this star. Candyman saw them first and warned me about them, and then I got an scanning boost which allowed me to see them. I'm unsure why they're coming, and I'm hesitant to trade with him until he explains what they're there for or moves them away from the star. Currently, there's just under 300 ships total here, so I'll need 150 to defend against that. I've got 30 ships on this star. I've got 50, 60, 70, 80-ish ships here, so I don't have quite enough to fully defend against that fleet if Philbill decides to attack me, but I do have enough ships that I'll be able to damage a significant portion here and stop him from taking my home star. So I'm not too concerned, but I am worried that he might do that. But with the weapons I got from Candyman, I am about to take this home star, Anonymous's home star. So I've recovered my ship count. I've got 74 plus 50 ships there. So that's 120, which is well enough to take the 65 out there, and then it will only be a matter of time before I take this star and the rest of Anonymous's stars. And then after that point it will be pushing into back, and hopefully I can get an alliance with Ping. So I have messaged them asking for at least cooperation, preferably an alliance, and haven't heard back yet, but we'll see what they end up with. I might have to convince them to go with me because of the position that Math Guy is in and his ally, the Void. So their positions 2 and 5. Positions 1 and 4, me and Ping, will easily be able to take over those two if we try. But I'm not actually sure. Where is Texas? Okay, Texas is in the bottom left corner, southwest corner. So far away from all the action. Unsure if they've got any allies yet. It doesn't look like they do. Actually, these two, the exact same tech. So Texas and Bellum have been trading, and that seems to be it. Yeah, so Texas and Bellum seem to be on the team, but it seems to just be the two of them, so we should be fine for now because they don't have many stars combined, especially compared to the other empires and alliances we've got going on here. So that's the update. Yeah, preferably my plan of attack is to take out Anonymous, move into back, make a border with Ping, preferably a peaceful, ideally an alliance, and then if Philbill decides to attack, then I'll be sending all my troops up into the northwest, up through this way, trying to make a hold up in that corner, but we'll see how that goes. That's still a while off yet. So things are looking up for me. We're at tick 149 now, which is halfway through the 8th galactic cycle, and last we looked at this, we had Philbill here trying to attack me, and they sent a huge fleet, 250 ships this way, and then the rest of the ships came down to my home star, and they also sat 100 ships on this star here. So I was able to just barely defend against that. I had 5 ships left on my home star. Yeah, I had 5 ships left on my home star when that fleet came in. So I had just enough ships to do it. They timed their attack really well. So I defeated that, and it looks all good there. I've got Anonymous down to a single star. Well, 2 stars, one there, one here. But that's not too bad. I'll be able to take them out soon enough, and I can leave this star for a bit longer, let him build up, and then I'll be able to attack and take over a well built up star. I've been chatting with Ping, and he is very happy to ally with me. He's got an ally already. It was Rubik, I think it was. Either Rubik or Tinfoil. Probably Tinfoil. But yeah, he said he's got an ally, but he's very willing to ally with me and Candyman, and we agreed on some borders. Ping will get these stars, and all of Pack's stars that are closer, while I get all the stars in this area. So these will all be for me. And I'm very happy with that. That's I get a nice decent amount of stars from that, and I have the alliance extended out to 4 players rather than 2 players, so that will be a really strong position. There are a couple of things I need to worry about though. Ping told me that Briarios was also looking at capturing these stars, so I may need to negotiate with him for those stars, which won't be the best of situations, but it might be something I'll look out for. I'll be moving into Philbill really soon. I just need to build up some ships there. But having a look at the situation, it might be better if I send more ships southwards to make a front there, but that will all depend on my relations with Briarios. We can see up here that we've got an alliance of Dr. Gert and Gingy. I thought Starpig was also part of the alliance, but either they weren't part of the alliance or they agreed to give their territory over to Gingy, because in the last 10 or so ticks I've seen these 2 stars transfer ownership. So that's a concern that I'll have to deal with soon. I mentioned possibly agreeing to peace with them. That's something we'll have to work out, because that's not worked out just yet. Candyman, they've got enough ships that they can head northeast. They actually did offer me to come through these 2 stars so that I could make my own attack to the northeast, but at this stage I think I'm far too busy making an attack northwest through Philbill and also southwest. So at this stage my forces are already spread thin. I've only got 400 ships, which isn't that much, and I've already got 2 fronts to take on. As to research, Candyman and I are still trading texts, working well together. So we've got level 3 text for pretty much everything. I just completed terraforming and I'm moving on to manufacturing. I'll have that in a cycle and a half. And I believe that Candyman is working on weapons and should have it either sometime around the cycle. I forget if it was just before or just after, but sometime soon. So I'm quite happy with our position, and unfortunately I don't think we're quite in the leading position. I'm tied at 2nd place, 2 stars behind the leaders, but yeah, this is an interesting situation and I'll continue to keep you updated as it goes on.